Hi fellow gamers, and welcome to a quick performance update of The Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt on Xbox One and PS4. Obviously there's been lots of talk about the performance analysis of the game and how it works, and generally in play, like I said in my original head-to-head, across horseback, open rides and in battles it performs very well indeed. But there are areas for concern, certainly the swamp. With that said, as you see running behind you is the version as it was shipped, and these are more stress tests, so I need to emphasise that this is more about hitting the engine hard rather than looking at how it performs in general play, which like I say across all versions is very good. That said, now that the Xbox One version is capped to 30, how does that change the affair from my head-to-head? Well, quite a bit. Now that it stands with the resolution dip aside, obviously 900p to 1080p between the two consoles, the Xbox One version is now more consistent. The cutscenes, as I say, were always worse on the PS4, and they still are with this latest patch. But the Xbox One version now feels more consistent because it's not having these small spikes, and the uncapped version wasn't worth it because it was never really hitting anything greater than about 35 at any length of time to be worth the difference, so it just made the frame rate feel more inconsistent. So the cap does help out a lot here, and the dips are still consistent as they were. As you can see behind, between 102 and 103 they're still consistent in the swamp area, dropping around 2 or 3 frames in the heavy tessellated area for the water as you're battling. I've gone full on stress test with the torch and the dynamic light sources, which the game is superb at. Like I mentioned in my head-to-head, the lighting system is a thing of beauty. Everything casting shadows, all the enemies, the trees. I just love the lighting engine in this game. But performance wise, the Xbox One version is more solid now than the PS4. If you look at the PS4 next to the Xbox One version, you can see that it's dropping frames down to the low 20s, well 20 and 19 at times. Now there's a lot of talk on the internet about this double buffered frame rate. This is a symptom of the issue, not the cause. The issue here is the engine is struggling to deliver a frame within the budget, so it jumps over to the next frame. You can see spikes on my graph with still a 30 FPS delivery made. This is where the engine knows that it's dropped a frame, and in the next refresh sequence it drops into the next frame rate. So it's aware of where it's falling in and out of the engine, but there is times where it's going wrong. And this is not a GPU related or a system power related issue and dropping the resolution. Well, not directly anyway. You can see here standing at the trees with the speed tree solution, the middleware solution, and many other solutions in this game running at once. The frame rate on the PS4 can just hang and solid at 20 FPS as we're standing still looking at trees. Move the camera around and walk forward and back, and this clears it out. There is issues in the engine. Performance updates that are coming are not looking to downgrade the engine and remove features. This is not how it works. The issue here is software. They have issues in their engine. They've delivered the very first time on the PS4. It's a brand new API, and you can't underestimate the time you need to get used to it. And CD Projekt Red have done a commendable job. Anyone will tell you you need to get used to hardware and software first before you push the boat out. In programming, you spend far more time debugging code than you ever will writing it. They are most likely playing catch-up on all versions at the moment. Most likely this game was delivered on GNMX, and then the more performant GNM is being used to update parts of the engine. And this stands as true of the Xbox One as the PS4, but the DX11 pass will help a lot because they're very familiar with that. As to get the game up and running, this is by far the most obvious route to take, and then update sections of it with the GPU and the CPU and use parts of, as I say, the more performant GNM, along with the general engine issues and the mixture of middleware solutions that are causing these kind of dips. You can see even on the Xbox One, just turning and highlighting an icon for looting can cause me to drop about 4 frames. Now CPU power is always going to be an issue of these consoles, and as I said on the PC version, it doesn't use any more really than 3 cores of a CPU unless you're using an NVIDIA driver, an NVIDIA card, which is far better at using its CPU allocation. But right now, as it stands, the Xbox One with its new cap to 30 is more consistent in these heavy areas over the PS4, which like I say is dropping a third of its frames at consistent points in the game. But the camera smoothing out has now been fixed, which you can see as I spin the camera around. They've now smoothed that out, which again helps with the consistency of the games. Even the high-end PC version of mine still has this judder, which will now be patched in the latest version that's come with the PS4. The Xbox One patch has not been released yet. That'll be released next week, but I expect a similar performance change, i.e. not much at all, but the camera smoothing to be sorted out and any other bugs and issues they've fixed within the game. But like I say, expect the performance to come in and around the Xbox One version. Don't expect the PS4 version to all of a sudden jump up to some super high-end PC. That's not going to happen. This is all about weird and wonderful glitches in the game that are causing it to just perform a little bit under the level it should do. That said, the game is going to be worked on across PC and Xbox One. The amount of patches and work that CD Projekt Red and the listening to the community they're doing is very commendable, and hopefully this will make the game even better in the months to come as people pick it up later on down the line. I can only recommend the game, and I must stress again, this is not indicative of how the game performs generally in play. This is just stress testing, and these are the kind of issues that you'll get every now and then in certain missions in certain parts of the game, but overall the game performs really well. As it stands, I hope you guys and girls enjoyed this. Please watch the rest of the video and get an idea on the performance of between 102, 103 and 104 versions. I'll update it as soon as more versions and patches are released. I'll have my E3 video up over the weekend, so you guys and girls hopefully will enjoy that, and I'll see you very, very soon on the next one.